Faith, is that wine? I'm watching Faith throw back glass after glass of red wine. I'm like, wow, I got to up my game over here.
Look, this time that you have is right on lunchtime for me. And I have a little glass of wine, watered down wine at this time of the day. So sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. I was kidding. I didn't really think, I thought it was like cranberry juice or something. It really was wine.
Only a little glass.
Oh my God. You are hilarious. And I'm just like Mr. Boring Coffee over here.
Well, it's Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Although, pretty sure I saw you do it last week as well, but we won't. See, now I'm going to keep embarrassing you, Faith, till you see there's no one there. And that really is what Satsang is all about. That's the freedom that we talk about, is freedom for no one. That's the freedom. Because there is no freedom for a someone. You're not a someone. So as long as you're a someone or a me, you're always going to be seeking. Because you're always going to feel, the me feels incomplete.
It just is disturbing that it's pandemic in our species. That feeling of incompleteness and false identification is pandemic.
Right.
So many people suffer from this.
Right, but that's just highlighting that there's no control. There's absolutely no control at all, none.
It just wreaks havoc with most people. And, fortunately, people are starting to wake up. But for the majority, it wreaks havoc with their lives. And people that are buying into all this pandemic propaganda, it just exponentially intensifies it for some.
For who?
People that I talk to. I mean, my son is very...
It's a trick question.
Right, well, yeah. I mean, well, I see my son is very upset over it, I can't say anything.
Right, but notice that Joan, there's still a Joan there.
Yes, I know.
But that's not your doing. You have no, like, take something as simple as just raising your hand, yeah? So let's take something that we would normally consider under our control. How is the ability to raise your arm? How are you able to achieve that?
I think it's a thinking thing where you think about it and something with the central nervous system, I don't know how it happens.
Yeah, that's exactly
I mean,
right.
I have no idea how that, I don't know.
Right, so the message at Satsang, as always, is to stay there. Stay with I don't know, because that's closer to the truth. But notice the me is compelled to come up with an answer, come up with a solution, constantly trying to fix. That was last week's lesson, right? From Satsang. Not that there are any lessons, but it was this, we noticed, or I noticed when I rewatched Satsang, this energy. No, you guys were great. Listen, there's no mistakes. There are no mistakes. You cannot mess this up. That's just a story for the me, right? I screwed up is a story. And just like I was a huge success, right? Those are both stories. I'm a winner and I'm a loser are both stories.
Can I say, Michael, after last week's satsang, when I was giving all the advice that I shouldn't be giving, I was cranky with you that you didn't stop me, that you didn't interrupt and stop me from my wayward tactics.
Well, that costs extra. Yeah, we gotta get those donations up to get that personal where I come over, and really for even more, we can put up listening devices. So if I hear you going into story, I can call you.
That's it.
So, but you didn't see, even though we berate ourselves with these stories, this me story, and God, I screwed it up and I didn't get it right. That's all baloney. There's no truth to any of that, guys, because you're not doing you.
Yeah, but I'm embarrassed about who is doing me.
So you're basically saying you're embarrassed for God.
Oh no, I hadn't said that. No, sorry. That's a better perspective.
The thing is, there's nobody doing it. This right now is just happening all by itself. So every thought that's arising, you're not making that happen.
It seems like conditioning is making it happen. Cultural conditioning of some sort.
You know, I was thinking today about what turns an apple seed into an apple.
Seems like a bit of a miracle, doesn't it?
Yes, this is the miracle right now. This is the miracle. There's only this. There is no other miracle in town.
I mean, I'd like to know where the first blade of grass and the first oak tree and the first apple tree came from.
But there is no first. It's only now. It's only what's here now. There is no first. There's only what is. Is and isn't. Appearing, boom, gone. Appearing, boom, gone. It's not here long enough to grab hold of. So that's why all our stories are just empty stories. They're not true.
So it just is the miracle. There isn't anything else. And then the me thinks that I can do something about the miracle. I can make the miracle better for me. So that's all the story. All the stories are made out of all of that. But there's just the miracle. period. So that's kind of a challenge, to all of our me's. So what does the me say to that? And then do I believe the me's? Because the me is going to give me a story when it hears that. Oh, there's just the miracle. No, there isn't. I can do something with this moment. I can make it better. I know, I can know something that can tell me how to make it better and how it should be. So when we hear that, we can recognize the me spinning its story, and then we can say, huh? Really? But I think when we hear it's just the miracle, there's some skepticism going on. Maybe we can go into that if we want to.
Well, I think Sadhguru said it's either everything's a miracle or everything's logical. Everything's magical or everything's logical.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of people are logical, but really everything is a miracle.
So Satsang is saying it's just a miracle. End of story. Story. So then the logical part is the story. So what are we interested in the story? We are if we're, walking around as me. And that's denying the miracle, saying, no, this ain't miracle. But what's the truth? What is really, really, really real? What's right here? Is it the story or is it the miracle?
So Daniel,
yes.
sorry.
No, go
So
ahead.
Daniel, if I'm lying in a hospital bed, and I hate hospitals, and I'm struggling for breath because I've got the COVID infection, I'm still saying this is a miracle.
Mm.
This
All
is
right.
part of.
So
ahead, Michael,
we have to make a distinction here, Faith. That's a good example. So let's stick with your example. You're allowed to not like something. It's okay to not be happy to get COVID. That's there's nothing wrong with that. The thing that's different is you're not saying it's wrong, because only the me has judgments about what's right and what's wrong. Life doesn't have those judgments. Life is free and allows all. So COVID, cancer, leukemia, war, violence, it's all allowed.
Thank you. I had the feeling. I've had the feeling for a long time that it's the judgment that's the cause of suffering, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to continue with your example, to take it a little extreme, just to show you that you nailed it with judgment, Faith, that's exactly what it is. Imagine somebody that wanted to commit suicide who got COVID. They might be really happy. Oh, great. Now I can go and I don't have to do the deed and I get out of here. So you can see the judgment. What's good and what's bad depends on point of view.
Yeah.
It's not a truth.
But point of view is still the me.
Yes.
So it's like you don't have any control over that point of view. So for example, like I haven't gotten COVID, and honestly, the me doesn't want it. But there have been times when I've gotten sick and I'm excited about it because I'm like, oh, you know what? I so badly needed to not have to work for this week. And I had a friend who had he became a paraplegic during a surfing accident, and he's in a lot of gratitude. But he doesn't have any control over that reaction, just like I don't have any control over whether I'm happy to be sick or not. Like it's just this is more story, but it's the play of the universe. It's just the way it happens. So we can sort of let go of striving or, expecting it to be different, and just acknowledge, like, all right, it's back to that question. Who's the one watching this? That's really what we're asking here. Who is the one watching? Right? Oh, hi, Bella. Bella says she's watching.
Well, my question is, there's being in the witness position and witnessing the witness, but that's still a thing. It's still an object.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who you ask, but if you're asking me, even words like witness is an object, consciousness is an object. If you can make a word of it, that's not it in my book.
Yeah.
So that's because it's too free to be labeled. It's everything and it's nothing. And there's no word that encapsulates everything and nothing simultaneously.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't know that I've been able to get in touch with that. There's too much thinking going on or something.
Yeah, that one that's thinking will never.
Mind, you can't, yeah, it's not a thinking thing.
You can't get in touch with it.
It's not a thinking thing.
No, it's because the one thinking, Joan, doesn't exist. Did you hear that? The one that's thinking doesn't exist. That's the illusion. You're being thought. This is like dynamite, you guys. It just blows everything up.
And that one will always just feel I'm not in touch and I need to get in touch. That's the me, that's the thinking. And it's not true. It doesn't exist. There's no not in touch. There's no way not to be in touch. There's just a way to think I'm the one who's not in touch, who's set apart from everything. That's just an idea. And every me has that idea, and every me is desperately trying to get out of the me position and back into being in touch. And that isn't possible. Because there's never anything out of touch. That's not two, non-duality. To have something that needs to be in touch with something else, that only happens in ideas. But we can look right now.
Writing.
Now, go. Hey.
Sorry, Dan.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the metaphor of, I think they use it more of a bull, but it's like it's like you're on a horse, you're riding the horse and you're looking for the horse, but you're already on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already happening.
And the me can never hear that. The me can never recognize that I'm on the horse. Because me is the one who is looking for the horse. That's the me, the activity of feeling I need the horse and I'm looking for the horse.
Me is an activity.
Mm-hmm. and a
So-
claim.
So the me lives in comparison. That's how you know. And there's your judgment, Faith. So instead of just enjoying, like when I take walks, I'm telling you, nature is having a field day. The butterflies and the monarchs and the yellow butterflies and the white ones and the marigolds are so beautiful. And you can find the whole experience beautiful. If you have a me there, it's going to have favorites. I like this, I don't like that. And here's the quote problem with that is we think because we like something that makes it correct. That is the right thing to like because I like it. And the stuff we don't like, that is the wrong thing to like. And if you do like the stuff I don't like, then you're wrong. That's the world of the me. But you're doing shots now, Alan? All right, where's next week, bring the Jack Daniels, man. It's getting out of hand here. He is. She's doing wine. He's doing Jack Daniels. Okay.
I'm doing tea.
All right. I mean, I was coffee. I was thinking I was living on the edge with coffee.
Shots of
Whatever it
herbs.
takes. This is serious stuff here.
So this freedom that we're talking about is already the case. That's the good news at Satsang.
The good news that me will never hear. Never, never.
So you are what you seek. Right, Diane? You are what you seek. So you already are. So all this rigmarole, there's a word from Grandma, is all tying yourself in knots for no reason. And you know what the most amazing part about your suffering is? Honestly, and I say this with compassion and love, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Because they have their own story going. You kidding me? I mean, yeah, I'll give it lip service. Really sorry that your arm fell off, but so everybody is concerned with their own story. That's just the me. It's not right or wrong. It's just the way it is. But that can be painful for some of us. Not apparently for most, but for some of us, trying to cram myself into a me became impossible. I'm telling you guys, it really is a haunted universe. It's so amazing. That's the magic. If you realize everything's happening by itself, like these words, how are these words that I'm speaking, where are they coming from?
This all sounds so deep that it's confusing. I suppose it's because the me is trying to understand. And I would like to ask for a remedy of what to do So is it recognizing that we're already wholeness always, and then just watching the show? It seems like it's got to be more complicated. Of course, I don't know that I've done that, or that it's, here I go, I can't hardly speak a sentence without using that word.
You can, you can use the word I. I use it. So let me ask you a question. Are you empty inside? Are you empty?
I mean, it says no.
All right, well, is there emptiness, anything in there besides thoughts? Is there any emptiness in there? Any space?
Good question. Without thoughts, it's pretty much filled with thoughts, which you say are nothing, or I interpret you to say that. Yeah, I see that sometimes.
So if you drop all those thoughts right now, do you disappear?
I could say there's a lot more emptiness.
So do you need a thought to be here? Yes or no?
No,
Look how hard that was.
I
Kicking,
don't.
kicking and screaming the whole way. Yes, you do not need a thought to be here in this moment. Hallelujah. You do not need a story. So all that crap that you're dragging in from childhood, from the past, from what's not happening, all the stuff that may happen in the future, none of it's happening in this moment. All that's happening in this moment is this, just this.
I was just thinking about something interesting, which is, I don't know if we're composed or comprised of, what is it, 80% water, 90% water, but it doesn't really feel that way, right? But I would say the same thing about thinking. Because we think so much, it's almost like we assume we're full of all these thoughts, just like the water. But the way I look at it is that it seems like we're 90% thoughts like the water, but we might be 1% thoughts. It just feels like it's 99% because we think so much. So we're just so used to that conditioning or that whatever, that familiarity. And so I think if you can step back and just really look at yourself from that perspective of like, I'm really maybe only 1% full of thoughts. It just, in my head, it feels like it's 99%. Because like you just did with Alice, if you just stop and really get to a place where you're not thinking, so to speak, it just jumped out of you, Alice. You're like, oh, I can feel emptiness now, where 5 minutes ago, I think even though you know deep down there's emptiness there, but I think while you were thinking about it, there was sort of that sense of there's really no emptiness in me, right?
Right.
And then as soon as you just brought your awareness to the concept of no thought, you probably started noticing, wow, there's emptiness here. And I would say that the more time you can play in that world of just watching your thoughts or not thinking, whatever you want to call it, I think the more you start finding that, wow, there is a lot of emptiness here. And I just think it's a practice because we're just so used to being in our minds and our thoughts.
Thank you. That's really helpful, everybody. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah. And this is not, just so you know, and thank you for sharing, Alan. That was beautiful. This emptiness is not like a dark, scary void. It's not that at all. The emptiness is filled by this, by everything that's appearing. And it's all doing itself. Nobody's doing it. It's just happening spontaneously. So there's no doer. And the me imagines it's a doer.
As Muji likes to say, if you hold your hand up, your thumbnail can obscure the sun. Just one little thumbnail makes the sun go away. So just when I'm the me, I don't see the sun. I don't see the emptiness. I just see the thumbnail of the thoughts, right? My whole world gets filled with thoughts and with the energy of me needing to do the me job, the me business. So because for the me doesn't see emptiness. Me only sees, I need to do something with the emptiness, so I need to focus on my thoughts, because the thoughts are going to tell me how to do what I need to do to make this moment better, right? That's the me. So the me is just going to be, my whole vision is filled with thoughts and filled with stress and filled with me story. So the question is, am I tuned into the me? Am I being the me? Well, if so, then my experience is going to be story and thoughts and stress and needing to do, which will never work, but it's just another moment of needing to do endlessly. Or do I look again and see, oh no, wait, I'm actually not that. And I actually don't need to do anything to this moment. I mean, that's kind of the major thing here. The question is, this moment, do I really want to do something to this moment? And can I, right? The me thinks it can, that there's something the me can do to make this moment right, because it's already wrong for the me. So which one am I? Am I okay with this moment? And do I, or do I need to change it? And if I need to change it, then I'm the me. And the sun is going to be totally gone. Seemingly. And of course, that's all the story, because in fact, there only just is this. But that's what I say. What do you guys say?
When I hear you talking, I just notice my field where you have to finish your will, you have to do this, you have to do that. It's all laying here, and I don't give much space at all to, as Alan suggested, just being quiet as you guided me to be. And I noticed when I felt the emptiness, I also felt the relaxation come across my body. I guess in that state, I can still get things done.
Yes, absolutely. And better, more efficiently, less stressfully, because the me has the burden. Listen to how bad it is for the me. It is suffering because it has the pressure of trying to get it right, right? So that's the first thing. As a me, I want to get it right every time. Then I'm not out of the fire, because after I've done whatever it is I imagine that I did, then there could be guilt if it wasn't received the way I intended and the person, let's say, didn't like it or was not happy with me. Now I have to feel guilty. So that's why I say at satsang, there is no rest for the weary. There's no rest for the me. Fire or frying pan? But if life just happens spontaneously and you've never done it, it's like the moment the little kid realizes he wasn't controlling the car. He's got that fake steering wheel on the passenger side, the little, 5-year-old kid. And he finally lets go and starts laughing because he realizes, I had that experience. I thought at Disneyland, there were these Utopia cars. They were on a track, but my first time, I didn't know that. So I thought they were free. And I went to the right and the car turned to the right. I'm like, for a little kid, for being 8 years old or so, I mean, I was really happy to have my own race car. And then I remember turning the other way and I went to go to the left and the car went to the right and it hit something and I'm getting resistance. What a nice metaphor. Boy, I got lucky there. I hit resistance because I was hitting the cement divider underneath the car with the wheel. And so it literally was, okay, that's a pearl. We'll just go with that. That was resistance. And the car, it'll drive itself. I wasn't doing anything. This was all for show. So all the doing, you guys, anytime you're ready, anytime you've had enough. Diane, are you going to jump in here?
I was just thinking of the metaphor of life is a roller coaster, but we want a steering wheel in the roller coaster.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I love that, Diane, because we're not denying the ups and downs. We're not saying life doesn't have ups and downs. It does.
Yeah.
But if the me is on board, it just turns it into a nightmare.
Yeah, it puts the brakes on and turns the steering wheel as soon as it gets a bit unpleasant.
Right. And now I've got resistance to deal with, and I didn't even know I'm the source. Right? It's such a good analogy because I'm causing my own resistance, but I think I'm doing something because I'm turning the car and want it to go in the direction I need it to go in.
Well, I had a session with someone today that is a typical example of this. And it was a story about, a separation and a husband who apparently is not doing the right thing, which in the seeming of the world is not the right thing. But thinking about it all the time. So I got her to think about the problem and she could feel the tension coming in her body. Then I said, stop thinking about it and just observe the tension. And the tension went down. Then I said, bring the story back again and feel the tension. It was a little bit less and we did it 3 or 4 times.
Nice.
And she said, oh my God. She said, this is life-changing. She said, I didn't know. I said, well, you're not controlling it. You're just observing what's happening. You're just taking a step back. And I had a client yesterday that I did the same thing with. And I said, I actually asked the question, where is the seeing coming from? And he was a bit silent for a while. I said, you don't have to answer, just contemplate that for a moment. And he said, what's happening is every time I think I find something, I'm looking at it. Every time I find something, there's looking at it. And I said, yeah, isn't that strange? I didn't think we'd get to that, but occasionally you can slip that in and someone can contemplate it. And both of those people took it on board. And, hopefully that becomes a bit of a practice, I guess, of just observing. So we talked about, that you don't have to think, you don't have to entertain those thoughts because they just don't get you anywhere. And she said, but I see that he's wrong. I said, but he's not going to change. You're thinking about and judging him as being wrong isn't going to change him. I said, because if he did change, you'd probably want to be married to him again anyway. So you're not. Forget. And I think that's what people do, keep trying to change something or thinking about it. And I know that happened to me too. The more you think about it, the more you think that change can happen. But it's just a useless path to go down. You can actually survive without very much thinking at all. In fact, you don't have to think.
Yes.
Because what you think is thinking is really just what's happening anyway. It's just the me takes credit for it, that's all.
Yes.
So you don't have to think. You don't have to do anything, really. There's no shoulds or buts.
Right. You guys, I'm not kidding when I say you can't mess this up. It's only in your mind that it's a story that you think you can screw it up. But
Yeah.
you know, because a raccoon goes to, you know, one tree and not another tree, and he didn't do it wrong. It's just happening. And so we have this ability to tell stories because we have a comparison. So I know how this moment should be, apparently, and this isn't it, right? That's what the me says. It knows something. And I'm telling you, you don't know anything. Your knowledge isn't doing you any favors. This is not knowable.
Muji often says, though, what is the one thing that you do know? And I guess a lot of the time the answer's just been that I'm here, that I exist, that I have a sense of existence. Really, that's it. And that's not a 24/7 thing either, because I don't know I exist when I'm asleep, hopefully. But see, for me, the reason I don't talk much is because I can sense that there's some thinking trying to happen. And for me, I can't go there. Thinking is just a job that I just don't want to have. So it's hard to, even though that question, you know, he asked that question, can the seer be seen? And there's some contemplation of that, but it doesn't have to involve thinking. And some sort of a recollection or what he calls a non-phenomenal recognition happens. But it's not the same as what the mind thinks is knowing. And this is where language just fails to really make something clear.
Well, thank you, Diane. That was lovely. And I would just add that by doing little questions like I did tonight about my speech, noticing that the me will just start yapping and thinking without questioning, well, where are these thoughts coming from? How is my voice? Where is the sound of my voice? How is this happening? You know, the me is already down the line. It's already cut this, what we're pointing at Satsang, the me is already, no. I'm interested in my story and how I can get what it is I think I want. But notice the me is never satisfied for long. That has to hit you. That's the good news of Satsang, is you may get tired of seeking and throw your hands up and say, I'm out of tries. That is a great day. And it can happen right now. You can realize, you know what? I actually don't know how any of this is happening.
I used to, I've worked with a lot of athletes for 30 years, and I used to pose a question to them, which is, if we cut your thinker out, what kind of game would you have? And they instantaneously know they'd have the best game of their life. Once in a while, I have to prod them a little bit and explain what that really means, not to think. But so in sports, and I'm sure it applies to everything in life, the best games are when you are absolutely, quote unquote, not thinking about anything. And so it just creates space for your instincts and your intuition, of course, to just ooze out.
So just to reiterate, I'm saying that the thing that just came out of Alan's mouth, and before that my mouth, and before that Diane's, and before that Dan and Alice, etc., is the same one.
You've used this a lot in other satsangs. I love it. It's the not personal versus the universal. I've been meditating on that actually quite a bit. You know, the not personal. It's the person, the me, that creates the division. You've talked a lot about non-divided. And then of course your ocean analogy. I was thinking about that with Alice too. It's like, if you really can feel the space of the ocean, that even though that's technically got a limit to it, of course, on some level, but you can just visualize that you are the ocean to start with, then you can feel that space, and there's that sense of oneness, as opposed to the wave, you know, which is still part of the ocean, but that to me is like the thought, and you start buying into the wave as your thought. And I know at the end you always ask if we have anything else to add, and I just been thinking about this since Alice, you know, was talking earlier. I just think if we come from the place where the premise is in our lives, or our awareness is that we just start from the place of space, not thought. That's the Tao, right? Like we already are space or oneness or the Tao, and so I think our minds can trick us easily into, obviously because of the stories, into more of that personal. But I think that would be like a really good thing to meditate on before you go to bed tonight, is start from the premise that you already are space, you already are pure emptiness, you already are pure oneness, or the wave. And I've been doing that a lot lately, and it's really helped a lot. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Alan. But my only suggestion would be don't wait. Don't wait till tonight. Right now. Right now, notice that you're the space. You are the emptiness already. And these sounds are all appearing in it. And so the same sound in your voice and my voice, it's the same one. So start to notice it, because the me only focuses on itself, right? It's only aware of its own voice. But start to hear sounds, crickets, birds, other people talking. And that's kind of what you're saying, Alan. In a way, it's expanding. This is all story, but it's like expanding your consciousness. So you're listening to the whole universe rather than just your petty thoughts.
Which is why you love your walk so much, because you're out there feeling these butterflies and what have you, but you're not labeling them. There's a expansiveness about all of them. It's the happening of what you're experiencing, and that's really cool.
They're dancing. Those little guys are flying around. There's so many of them now, and everything's gone wild. And they're just dancing. These little butterflies are so beautiful and so entertaining. I encourage you, next time you're out and you notice these guys, it's magical. It's amazing. It's a whole world. And that's what you're missing when you're in your head worrying about me, me, me. You're missing these little delights that are there, but not seen, like Dan said, blocked out by the thumb. You could just replace the word thumb with thoughts, me thoughts. That's what's blocking this, is me, all about me. There is no me, and there is no personal. That was my point, Alan. You can take the word personal and throw it out. It doesn't exist. There is nothing personal. Because there's no person. It's all one. To have a person, you need two. And that's what the me feels. There's life, and then there's me. And that's the separation. And that's the pain and the suffering, is that imagined division. My life and then life. It's not true. You don't have a life. There is no you. There's just life. This is a rather tame satsang after last week, I must say. See, you never know. Because you didn't say anything, Faith, that's why. Faith, I'm still saying you were perfect. You're so awesome. Everybody, you guys, because you can't be anywhere else than where you're at. That's what I'm saying. This moment unfolds as it unfolds. You're not doing this moment. That's what I'm saying. So you can't do it wrong, but you also can't do it right. You see? That's the freedom. Isn't that lovely? And the me wants to get it right. You know that.
So there's nowhere in there for an apology or anything, huh? I mean, obviously not. I mean, I'm not saying, couldn't there be something if you did something pretty bad, or that you would say to another person, I'm sorry, or any of that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, if you're harsh with somebody and you realize it, absolutely. It's just being civil. It's just being friendly. It's like,
You don't need a me to do that.
Yeah.
What's that, Dan?
You don't need a me to do that, to apologize.
Okay. That's
and that
true.
will happen naturally, the same way you're growing your hair and breathing your breath.
Well, that's an interesting question, Alice, because I wanted to apologize when I realized how I'd got tripped up into my addictive tendency, and that you'd been on the other end of it. So I wanted to apologize, but I couldn't find the words. It was very strange. I'm a word person and I'm a writer, and I couldn't think what to say because it was just very odd. So it was like I felt like apologizing wasn't the right thing, wasn't what I was to do in that situation, which is so unusual for me because I would apologize for anything and everything and, everybody. So, and I thought it was something to do with coming to these satsangs and realizing or beginning to maybe hope that I am wholeness and there is nothing to fix. So I didn't say anything for a while, but then I thought, I've got to say something. So then you got my message. But if it's all unfolding perfectly, where is there a place for apologizing? I don't know.
Well, it's just what's happening. If you felt to apologize, then that would be what's happening, but you didn't. You didn't have words. So that's what happened. But what I'm saying is there's no way to know what is the right. You can see your me trying to figure it out. Well, what's the right thing? What I'm saying is there's just what happened. And you're not doing that. So they're just telling a story now.
So is it about sort of just sensing into what you felt you're led to do, or I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Is it about sort of going with some inner?
Have you ever seen one of those movies where they hypnotize or maybe you've seen it like a TV show where they do this thing where they hypnotize a person on stage and then they make them do all kinds of embarrassing things like quack like a duck and it's something they used to do back in like the 70s and stuff. It's kind of like that. Like the me is hypnotized by the story, I think. Oops, there's the I. And life just happens through it. That's a big story, by the way. But
yeah.
that's how I sometimes process it.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Yeah.
Well, I think the point here is to notice that, well, Faith, you're still looking for the answer of how should I behave? What is
Yeah.
the right way to be, Faith, in this moment? You know, and that is the me. That's the me's perpetual question. And the ultimate answer that you get from satsang is there is no answer, but
Yeah.
which doesn't sound like much help. But what we can do is notice, get to recognize the me,
Mm.
and that is the me. The me is trying to know. That's why I want knowledge, so I can know how to be the right person, how to do the right thing, and how to act and how to behave. And that's ties me up in knots.
Yeah.
Are
It's
you
very
saying,
constricting.
Thank you.
are you saying there's no choice? Because it
Yes.
feels like there's a choice,
Yes.
like
it
Faith
does.
was just saying.
Go
And
ahead, Mike.
there'd have to be a me there to have choice, right?
Well, the me it's the illusion of choice. Whatever you end up doing. So if you go in the refrigerator and you choose the apple instead of the orange, that's just what happened. You could say, well, I decided. But how did that thought get there? How did that feeling get there? Right? You
Yeah, it
didn't
feels like it's conscious.
Actually, I think I had a good example of this today because I was laughing when it happened because it was such a perfect example of exactly what we're talking about, which is that I went for a run and I said to myself, I'm not taking that hill. I'm going to run along the path that doesn't take the hill. I'm not in the mood today. And then I find myself halfway up the hill going, how the F did I get on the damn hill? Like it wasn't, I don't know if that helps, but I was laughing hysterically because it's exactly what we're saying here.
Oh, come on. Who hasn't said they're not going to eat that sweet out of the refrigerator or freezer at night? And then I find myself at 11:30 at night bent over a pumpkin pie I got at Ralph's with a fork like a savage. And I'm like, what? No control, right?
So,
Who did that? It wasn't you, right?
I said I wasn't going to do it. The me said, well, I'm definitely not getting anywhere near that pumpkin pie this late at night. Well, too bad. So what I'm saying is you realize that what's going to happen is just going to happen and you can relax. Because the intelligence, Faith, and this is what I want to communicate as we close out satsang tonight, there is an intelligence, a life wisdom that is not personal, that if you'll just get out of the way, you may be surprised.
Yep.
Well, I just want to note that if I have a choice, then I've already created a story and I'm already sitting inside of my story because I need the story to make the choice. The story tells me, oh, this might be right and this might be wrong and this is good to do, this is bad, and if I do the so I've already built a story. So then I just notice that, because where's the story going and what does that have to do with what actually is here? What's real? Well, it doesn't have anything to do with it. It's only building its own story for its own self. That's the hamster running in the wheel. So
yeah, we say that stories, right? I'm stealing this from Paul Hederman. Stories are about what's not happening.
And the story is always about helping me to fix my moment, fix this experience and make it right. And that's endless. So but my point here is that if I can, this business of the question of choice, I can look at that and I can notice the story, I can start to recognize this fact of story, and then I can, start to notice this habit, this conditioning, like Alan said, of continually going back to the story, but noticing also that the story doesn't go anywhere because it's not real. It's just constant effort for nothing.
I think someone mentioned in one of the satsangs that landed with me that thinking is an addiction,
Mhm.
which I find to be true.
Yep, but the addict is the me. And if I see that I'm not the me, there goes the addiction.
And then thoughts are just seen as thoughts. Stories are just seen as stories. Everything is just what it is, right? So somebody's comment isn't taken personally. It's just someone's opinion, and it's just as valid as yours. So, right? The me doesn't see it that way. The me judges, well, I'm right, and so anyone that disagrees is wrong. But the reality is, those are just stories. Right and wrong are just stories. There's just what's happening always. Look how simple though. Just what's happening. And the me wants to add to just what's happening. It wants to throw in a yeah, but, because it wants me. What about me? And we're saying just what's happening. Not for any me, just what's happening.
Yeah, but
Alan Watts calls thoughts temporary mental constructions.
What?
Alan Watts, he calls thoughts temporary mental constructions.
There's no substance, guys. This is empty and full. So there's no way to grab anything. And the stories give this illusion of permanency as if it's a real solid thing. There are no real solid things. Everything is transient. Everything. Thank you guys so much for coming to Satsang. So great to have you all here. Have a blessed Thanksgiving holiday. Wish you much peace, health, and happiness. Stay safe. I'll do my best to get this up on YouTube in the next 24 hours. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Michael.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Michael.
Happy holidays.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.